We're always told that to get ahead, you just have to keep pushing. You have to grind, maintain that momentum, and whatever you do, don't stop. But what if the most important work, the real breakthroughs, happen when we do the exact opposite? What if they happen when we stop? Today, we're going to dive into that and really explore where the real gold in our efforts might be hiding.
This idea right here, this, is the core of everything we're about to explore. The breaks aren't some flaw to be hidden away. They're meant to be highlighted, to be celebrated. It's a pretty radical thought, but there's a traditional Japanese art form that shows this concept in the most beautiful way possible.
So, to really get this, let's start with an incredible metaphor that might just completely reframe how you think about breaks, about imperfection, and even about rest. It's called kintsugi, which translates to the art of golden repair.
So what's so fascinating about kintsugi is the philosophy behind it. See, instead of trying to glue a crack back together and make it invisible, the artist does the opposite. They use a precious metal like gold to draw your eye directly to the break. The repair isn't just fixing something, it becomes the most beautiful and important part of the entire piece.
Think about what that means. The object's history, its journey, including the moment it completely shattered, that's what adds to its value. The cracks tell its story. This isn't about hiding flaws, it's about showcasing them as proof of resilience and a totally unique kind of beauty. Pretty powerful idea, right? But how does this actually apply to our lives and the way we work?
Okay, so while kintsugi sounds amazing in theory, our modern work culture, well, it pushes us to do the exact opposite. We're terrified of showing our cracks, and that all stems from this deep-seated fear of just stopping.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You know that voice. It's that sprint mentality. You finally get into a flow state, you feel that momentum building, and you're absolutely convinced that if you take a break, even just for a day, all that magic is just going to disappear. So we push and we push, terrified of losing our grip.
And here's the big paradox, isn't it? We think we need this constant motion, this relentless momentum to get where we want to go. But the actual result? It's just fatigue and a ton of mental noise. We burn out, we create so much static in our heads that we end up missing the very signals we were working so hard to find in the first place.
This is just such a perfect analogy. When we're deep inside a project, pushing non-stop, we completely lose perspective. We're just too close to see the bigger picture. To really understand what we're doing, we have to step outside the jar. And, well, the only way to do that is to pause.
So if the problem is that constant motion, that feeling of being stuck inside the jar, then the solution has to be the pause. And thankfully, there's another amazing Japanese concept that gives us a name for this powerful, essential interval. It's called ma.
Now, ma is not empty space. It is not a void. It's not nothingness. It's an active, essential space between things. It's the gap where connections are actually made, where all those scattered ideas finally synthesize and where real meaning starts to emerge.
And once you start looking for it, you see ma everywhere. Think about it. Rhythm in music doesn't just come from the notes themselves, it comes from the space between them. A DJ builds all that incredible tension and energy in that tiny moment of silence right before the beat drops. And if you've ever worked out, you know your muscles don't get stronger while you're lifting, they grow during the recovery time. Ma is everywhere.
Okay, so what's actually happening inside our brains during these pauses? This isn't just some philosophical concept. There's a real, tangible process going on that allows for insight and all that good pattern recognition.
This is really all about getting some clarity. When we're just working nonstop, our brain is full of noise. It's just static. A pause acts like a filter. It quiets all that noise down so that the important signals, the patterns your brain has already been figuring out under the surface, can finally come through.
This simple cycle here shows exactly how it works. First, you need that intense effort, the pushing. You have to do the work. But then comes the step that is absolutely non-negotiable, the pausing. This is the rest, the recovery. And it is only after that pause that the third step, patterning, can even happen. That's where you get those aha moments.
Let's just let that sink in for a second. The time you spend resting, or taking a walk, or just staring out a window, that is not wasted time. That space is not empty. It's full of quiet, essential work. It's generative. It's productive. It's literally where the magic happens. And this brings us right back around, full circle. It connects the essential nature of the pause with that beautiful art of kintsugi that we started with.
If you take one thing away from this explainer, let it be this: the gaps in your schedule, the breaks in your focus, the rest days you take. Stop seeing them as problems or signs of weakness. Start seeing them as opportunities. They are the cracks where you get to pour the gold.
Because what exactly is that gold? Well, it's awareness of where you are and where you're actually trying to go. It's the space for genuine reflection. It's the ability to finally see patterns that you were completely blind to before. And ultimately, it's about discovering a deeper meaning in your work. And these are things that can only be cultivated in the pause.
So let's end with this one last really powerful reframe. We have to stop thinking of work and rest as enemies fighting for our time. They aren't opposites, they're partners. Each one makes the other better, more effective, and more meaningful. You truly cannot have one without the other.
And so I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Not when were you forced to stop because you were totally burnt out, but when was the last time you intentionally, deliberately gave yourself permission to pause because you understood that the pause itself is part of the work? Something to think about.